This is chapter 4, activity-based costing ABC, and we're going to talk about briefly the lean operations, including lean manufacturing and so on, and the cost of quality. The problem that we may be facing, and that if we use the overall cost on the manufacturing overhead, using the method we talked about in chapter 3, we may face something called cost distortion. And cost distortion is caused by using a very simple, we call that overly simple method to calculate costs. Because in the line of costs, we may have to look at some individual products, individual items, and so if we do not look at that way, and we may see some overly estimated costs, or some costs may be underestimated. So we have several objectives in this chapter. Objective 1 is to develop and use departmental overhead rates to allocate indirect costs. So here are some reasons why and how do companies refine their cost allocation systems. And one here, as it says here, mismatching resources. We may have multiple costs to look at, and if we use a same rate and by calculating the overall manufacturing overhead, and the cost may not be as precise as we expect, and that's going to cause something called a cost distortion. So manufacturing operations and service companies and governmental agencies, they are the main bodies that we're discussing here, that they are using to refine the costs. So some example here. Plant-wise overhead rate is to use total estimated manufacturing overhead cost divided by total estimated amount of the allocated base. So we're going to use the total of the cost divided by total, say the units. So units will be the hours here. So assume we have $1 million has been estimated as MOC, manufacturing overhead MOH costs, and 62,500 direct labor hours. So we're getting $16 per hour. So this $16 per hour may be applied to different departments, but we know in different departments they may incur different levels of cost. So $16 may not be the accurate number to reflect the different costs that maybe companies may be facing for different departments. So here's an example. I use plant-wide overhead rate, and we use only one predetermined manufacturing overhead rate to allocate manufacturing overhead. So for example, we have two jobs. Job 101 is to produce one elliptical machine, and so $6 per hour times total 10 hours, and there will be 160, and then we also use 16 for per hour with 10 hours, so it'll be $160. So we are going to see how this may be affecting the real numbers. So using departmental overhead rates, we will see some differences. Here, use the we have two departments. One is the machining department, and they are actually incurring $600,000 of manufacturing overhead. Assembly department actually is incurring $600,000 of manufacturing overhead. So for each one, and for the Eclipse and its direct labor hours, and the treadmill is a 6 direct labor hours. So we're going to see total here is 1 plus 9 is 10, and it's 4 plus 6 is 10. So let's see what this means here in the next slide and coming. So just a little bit explanation. What time do we use departmental overhead rates? And when departments incur different amounts and the types of manufacturing overhead, as we see in here. Overhead will be for assembly and machining department, and they are going to have different manufacturing overhead into departments. And for machining is 1 hour. For assembly is 9 hours. So total is 10 hours. And machining is 4 hours here, and 6 hours, also 10 hours. But if we look at the total machine hour here is 5. But we have $400,000 of overhead for whatever number of treadmills and elliptical, and for the assembly, we are spending a lot more hours, but compared to the $400,000, the increase of $200,000 by using 600,000 minus 400,000 is only $200,000 difference, but we have a much bigger difference in the labor hours for each of those. So this is going to give us some very different numbers, and different jobs or different products use department resources to a different extent. So let's see here. If we use department of overhead rates, so 400,000 divided by whatever number has been allocated for this machining department. Say this is a 12,500 direct labor hours. So we can use this number divided by this. So total cost for the machining divided by total hours in the machining for the labors. So it's just $32 per hour. And in the assembly, $600,000 divided by $50,000 is only $12 per hour. So we'll see the difference. And when we use these numbers to do the calculation in the slides coming, we're going to see a fairly different numbers. So $32 per hour times 1 hour, it's $32 for the machining, and assembly is $12 times $9 is 108 hours. Total is 140. But remember, we had 160 in the slides here. All right. So we do another calculation for the machining. 32 times 4 hours is 128, and assembly 12 times 6 hours is 72. So total is 200 hours, $200. So we see for the job 1, and if you use a plant-wide overhead rate, manufacturing overhead allocation is $160 for this job. But in fact, if you use department overhead rate, it's $140. So we have overestimated the number from 140 to 160. So we have a $20 overcosted. And so for the treadmill, and $160 has been estimated, but in reality is $200. So $40 under our costed can be found. So these are the real numbers, more closer to each individual job, and this is what we have using the overall plant-wide overhead rate. So we will see the difference here. So we see overcost or undercost based on the plant-wide overhead. This is called cost distortion. So the book has a example, so we're going to take a look at this one. we need to probably go back and forth to see the numbers. So kettle snack, mixed potato chips, corn chips, and cheese puffs using 3 different production lines within the same manufacturing plant. Currently, the company uses a single plant-wide overhead rate to allocate its $3,315,000 of annual manufacturing overhead. Of this amount, $2 million and $2,014,000 is associated with the potato chips line, and $672,000 associated with the corn chip line, and $629,000 associated with the cheese puff line. The company's plant is currently running a total of 17,000 machine hours. So it's easy to calculate if it's overall, plant-wide overall. So we're going to see using $3 million some dollars divided by $17,000. So we're going to see a rate. So if we use this rate, we can calculate per hour overhead dollars. So that's from chapter 3. But we're going to see the difference if we allocate all these hours and allocate all this based on different hours and different costs for each line. We're going to see some differences. So there are 3 questions here. What is the company's plant-wide overall overhead rate? So we are going to use $3 million divided by 17,000, and then it's in the next slide. So we have this one divided by this $195 per machine hour. All right. So, and we're going to calculate the plant-wide. Oh, so these are the numbers we just read. So I'm not going to flip back. Just they're put in here, and the machine hours are different for each one. So I'm going to calculate overhead rates for each line or each department will be 190, 224, and 185. So question is, which products have been overcosted by the plant-wide rate? Which ones have been undercosted by the plant-wide rate? So we have 195 is plant-wide, but in reality is 190. So this is overcosted, and this is undercosted because the 195 is less than this, and this is also overcosted. So okay, we just see the numbers here. All right. So this just gives some idea that if we use a plant-wide rate, it does not reflect the true costs for each line or each department. So we need to use a departmental cost schedule to find out for each line how much it's really costing us. So the second objective is to develop and use activity-based costing to allocate indirect costs. This is a central part of this chapter. So you should understand what we are having here. And I really urge you to read the chapter. This chapter has detailed explanations, so we cannot the slides here just give you some idea, and I'll give you some explanations on all these concepts we're having here. So activity-based, activity we know it's in the manufacturing facilities, companies, what they do. So we want to identify different activities a company may have. So many of you may not have experience in the machine manufacturing industry. So let's see what we have here. One is machine setup. These are, say, the machine, they are turned off, and when in the evening when the plant closes, and so the machine cools down, and then all maintained, and parts are put into the shelf, and machine are cleaned and put into idle. So here, next day when they start, they need to set up the machine again. It takes time, takes people to do that. So there'll be costs associated to that. So this is one activity. material handling. So you want to put something together, you want to make something, you want to move the raw materials or parts or whatever, move to the machine. So I'll move to the work site, and it'll be the machineries or people, and the people are going to move them. So it'll be costs associated to this too. This is fabricating parts. So they're going to make things when the machine has been set up, and when the parts or materials have been moved to us, and then you're going to work on the station, on the machinery, and you're going to have incur a major cost in here. And then here's a supervising assembly. So you have line managers is going to supervise to make sure the parts are made and they are on time, and they are everything's in order. So you need to have a supervisors on site. Inspection, and when something has been made, there'll be inspection to make sure the quality meets the requirements. And packaging, of course, when you have something finished, you need to package that. It'll be cost to do the packaging. So these are different activities. In general, a manufacturing company will have to incur such activities on the lines. So here is a set of identified and estimated indirect costs for each activity. Machine setup, material handling, and so on. We just talk about these. And here are what kind of costs we're having here. Indirect labor used to set up machine, and this is overhead, so $80,000. Forklifting, gas, operator's wages, and $200,000. So machine lease payments, electricity, repairs, and so on, and there will cost money, and so it'll be $300,000. Production engineers labor and supervising assembly, and so these engineers and all managers are here, and they're going to be $150,000. And inspection will be testing equipment, inspection labor will be $170,000, and packaging equipment will be $100,000. Total is $1 million. So we're going to see the allocation base for each activity. Mainly, you're going to see these are called allocation base, or we call that drivers, or cost drivers. So for the setup, what are the units you're going to use? So these are how many machines are set up, or number of setups. And materials handling, this how many parts have been moved, and these are the numbers. And then it's how many hours of machine hours you have to use on the machine, and what are direct labors for the supervising assembly, and how many numbers of inspections have been done. We all have been calculated, has been identified, and packaging is the cubic feet of cubic feet packaged is based on how many cubic feet has been packaged here, so 400,000 cubic feet. So those are the allocation base. Okay, and then we can compute, calculate the cost allocation rate for each activity. So I have the total number divided by total hours, or total whatever basis we have, and then we're going to have per setup, per part, per hour numbers. These are the allocation rate. So not going to go through each number here, and then you're going to have allocate some manufacturing overhead for each activity to the individual jobs that use this activity. So here's the actual use of activity allocation base, and this is activity cost allocation rate we have calculated from last slide, and these are the bases. And so we're going to 2 setups, 20 parts, and so on. So for this job, we are going to have $109 being allocated for job 101. Okay, for each equipment. So here are the number of this is another example. So we have activities. This is cost base, and at the base is the cost drivers, and a machine purchasing will be number for purchase orders. Material handling is the number of parts. Production scheduling is the number of batches, and quality inspections, the number of inspections. Prototyping is the number of page copied. Photocopying, sorry, but it's not prototyping. Photocopying is the number of pages copied, and warranty service is the number of service calls. And so these are some kind of examples to show us what activities we have and what units or what cost drivers we have. So here's an example. So estimate the total machine overhead cost for machine setup is this number, and estimate the total usage of cost drivers and all cost basis will be this. And so you're going to use this one divide by this one. It will be per setup how much dollars, and this one this uses $720,000 divided by $4,800. It'll be per hour how much cost for machining, and quality control is how many test runs, and use the total overhead divided by the test runs. So per test runs how much. So this is going to be number one, computed activity cost allocation rate for each year. So this is per year. And then we're going to complete the following job cost record for job 557. So let's take a look. So use this number divided by this setups, and so per setup is 55, per machine hours is this, and per quality control test will be $60. So here are the simple calculation. Oh, let's take a look here, and we have some numbers for 557, and 557 is have two people, John and Allison machined assembled the job 557. John worked 12 hours, and Allison worked 4 hours. John's paid $25, Allison's paid $28. So 12 times 25 and $4 times 28 is direct labor. And we have $1,250 is for direct materials. So direct material DM, direct material cost will be this number. And then we're going to allocate 2 machine setups, 2 times 55, 4 machine hours, whatever number times 4, and 3, I think the $60 per test. So 3 times 60. So we're going to simply add them up. So here's the John's 12 times 25, 4 times 28. Total is 412, and direct material is 1,250, and overhead for 2 setups times 55, 4 machine hours times $150 per machine hour is 600, and 3 tests times 60 is 180. Total will be 890. So put it all together. Total job cost for the job number 557 is $2,552 for this job. So this is different levels of the costs. So we have a unit level activities based on each unit. Batch level is for each batch of the products, and then we have a product level. Product level, it can be multiple batches. It can be look at, okay, for the all, say the lamp, one model of lamp, for all the lamp within this number of hours, how much total we have in the cost. Facility level activities is mainly at the CEO, for example, his payment, or the plant, the utilities, and so on. So let's take a look at some examples. We're going to identify different levels for all these in here. So each one. Product line manager's salary is product level. This is a product line. So it's on the on producing the products. So it's a product level. And machine setup, and the setup is it's a batch level, because you cannot identify directly for each machine hour on a single product, because the machine setup may be used to produce multiple products and so on. This even for one product, so one machine setup will be used for different number of products, so it's batch level. Patent for new products is product level, because patents is on a product. For utilities is facilities and factory utilities, and it's a facility level. And direct materials, of course, is unit. Direct materials for each part, how much it costs, so it's easy to find out. Cost to inspect each product as it's finished is for each product, so it's each unit, so it's unit level. And we have CEO salaries of facility level, and engineer costs for new products is product level, because engineer are the ones who are producing the products. And order processing is batch level, and some may feel, okay, why this is not a product level, but it's batch level, because in order you may have multiple products in there, so there may be different products. So we put this as a batch. It's called a batch level. Depreciation of a factory, of course, is a facility, because factory is a facility. Direct labor is unit level, so per hour, how much the person's been, one person, specific person has been paid, so it's unit level. Unit can be a unit product, unit as a person or as a labor. And shipment of order to a customer is similar to the order. It may contain multiple products or different products, so it's one batch, so batch level. Okay. So next objective is to understand the benefits and the limitations of ABC ABM system. ABC is activity-based cost, and ABM is activity-based management. So using ABC information, activity-based cost information, we are using that to make some decisions like pricing and product mix and cost cutting and planning and control. We're going to look at one at a time. So pricing, it's very important for the company to see how much do we want the customer to pay to purchase our product. And a product mix is to see what products do we have. And for example, a lamp. Do we have a table lamp? Do we have a floor lamp? Do we have what kind of lamps? So how do we decide that? It's basically need to know for each cost, so that I can calculate how much we charge the customer, and then we can find out how much we can make profit. So change the prices for products after identifying different total costs, and it's pricing, because we need to know how much it really costs us for each product, and then we know how much we can charge customers, and we see how much we can get for the profit. And so we're going to use this to decide market a higher profitability product, and not to produce the lower profitable product. Shift product mix away from less profitable products. So if some of those in the product mix is not making enough money or to cover the cost, or it's too low in the profit, we probably not going to produce them anyway. To cut costs, of course, to cut costs, you need to know how much cost you have. So you need to analyze costs in the value chain, and so we have two types of activities. One is value-added activities and non-value-added activity. So we're going to really focus on the value-added activity, and a non-value activity as basically is a cost. It's purely cost. So we're going to see, can we reduce those and focus ourselves on the value-added activities. So for planning and control, and we use the cost of activities to create a budgets. So budgeting in a company is very important. Budgeting is to plan how much are we going to invest, are we going to put aside money so that we can manufacture certain products. So we do not want to go over budget. And some examples in real life is budgeting is okay. You know how much you make per month, and then you need to make budget for the spending for this month. For example, we plan to buy a television in some time, and so I need to see, okay, how much do we spend on that? You need to look at how much do you make, how do you spend, and how much can you save, so that I can make the budget for that television. So basically, the budget needs to know, okay, how much a television cost, so that you can make the budget. You need to know the cost first, and compare with actual activities to see if goals are being met. It's very important in the production line because they need to make sure that we are producing something within the lines, the budget lines. So you're not going to go over the budget lines. So it will be very bad for a company if they always go over the budgets. So using ABC outside of manufacturing, merchandising and services, they also are going to use activity-based cost to find the most profitable product or services. And so if you're providing multiple services, you need to find out which one will cost you too much and probably say, okay, we're not going to offer this service anyway. For the manufacturers, we allocate operating activities. Need to look at what kind of operations we have and how much cost for each operation, and can we refine all this in each operation so that we can find the individual costs. And so if we know the costs for each activity, and then we can find how we can reduce this cost to improve our profitability. So cost benefit test. So question is, do the benefits of adopting ABC or ABM exceeds costs? Okay, and we're going to look at the benefits of using ABC or ABM, activity-based cost and activity-based management. In fact, we're on the next slide to see many companies are using ABC because they see the benefits. So benefits are higher for companies in competitive markets. It's accurate product cost information is essential because if you know how much a product costs, then you can do marketing accordingly. So for example, this product costs us $100, and what we want to do is to sell it at the price greater than $100 so that we're not going to lose money, and also you want to make some profit so that you can use this profit to reinvest or to expand your production. ABM can pinpoint cost savings opportunities. So agent-based activity-based management is going to look at what activities cost more, or activities can cost less, so they can see what opportunities we have to save, so that we can lower our cost, improve our profitability. And another benefits are benefits are higher when risk of a cost distortion is high. So you want to reduce the higher distortion in the cost so that it can improve your benefits. So many different products, many different types and amounts of resources, you cannot put them all together to calculate cost. So because if you do that, you're going to see the cost distortion. High indirect costs and high and low volume products are also something companies need to take a look so that they can do something to lower the high indirect costs, and find out for the high and low volume products which one is more beneficial for the company to make. So how much does it cost to adopt the ABC? And generally, lower with accounting and information system experts to develop the system. Accounting professionals, accountants, they're very important in the process here because they can identify the costs so that IT guys can develop an information system that can use this cost to monitor the system activities in the system, and use the information system so that we understand, we know the cost information as soon as possible so that we can make decisions accordingly. Companies are very glad to adopt ABC because 89% of their companies say that it was worth the cost to adopt this, because ABC is basically a system that needs to have some initial investment for company to put money in to set up the system so that they can monitor each activity they have and find out cost for each activity. But it's not a cure-all, but it helps managers to understand the cost better. Okay. Since the old system may be distorting costs, so what time do we know that the system is having distorting costs? There's some signs. Cost system may need a repair when managers don't understand the costs and the profits. So they're not sure how much each product costs them and how much they're making the profit. And that could be pretty disastrous. Bids are lost when expect to win. And I say, oh, we believe we're going to win this. In fact, we lost them because your bid is too expensive. And people say, okay, we find better prices and we're not going to accept your bids. And this can be because it could be your pricing too high. When bids expect to lose, and so you know, okay, with this price, we probably are going to win the bids, but surprisingly, you win it. And what happens? It may be you have priced too high, and you haven't calculated your cost correctly, and you priced too high, and you win those. Actually, should be the other way. Not too high, too low. Sorry, your price is too low. So companies are not going to say. Other companies say, okay, we can only do this, and so $100 for each unit, and you're offering $90, and you suddenly find that if you do $90, your profit may be too low, and that could be because you have not calculated costs well. Competitors price similar products much higher or much lower because they have done a good calculation on the cost, so they price their products well. So if your product's competitors' price is much higher than yours, and you may gain a lot of sales, but you are not going to make a lot of profit because your profit margin may be very low. And if the competitor's price is much lower, it's on the other side, and if the market price is lower than yours, and you may lose your customers, especially at a time the sales will be in a very short period of time, and your higher priced products may not be sold as you expected. The cost system may be outdated if there is a diversified product line. So this is if you have diversity of product line, and it means you have different products, and so different products may cost differently, and then you need to do that accordingly. So you want to update your system so that it can identify the real cost for each product on the product line. So next objective is to describe lean operations. Lean operations is a very common concepts now in the manufacturing. It also in the service and merchandising actually. So we're going to focus on the manufacturing here. So traditional product system keep large inventory on hand. So You want to make sure that when you need them, it's in the inventory. But there's a problem: storage cost. So put things in the inventory will be very expensive to put them. One is the space you need. You rent a space, it could cost you. And the second one, when you put something large inventory in the storage, it holds up your cash, and you may find you may not have enough cash to do the job, to pay the salaries of the laborers and employees, and then you need to go to the bank to get a short loan. And when you get a loan from the bank, you basically need to pay interest, so it'll be expensive, and a high quality problems. So if you have a lot of inventory in there, the low quality items may be hidden in the inventory, so you may not be able to find them. Bottlenecks and obsolete products may be hidden in the maybe put into the inventory, and then not be used quickly because you have a large inventory. The solution is to have a lean production system. There are many different names for the lean, and it can be lean manufacturing, lean production, MPR, MPR2, and so on. So we're not going to get into this too much here. We'll just give you some idea what a lean manufacturing system is. So it's a philosophy and a business strategy we're going to talk about here. And actually, I think it's the next slide. And it's we're going to be there. And we're going to talk about the goal of the primary goal of the lean is to eliminate waste and cost. The focus of a just-in-time is to purchase raw material just-in-time for production, and a finished goods just-in-time for delivery. Just-in-time is very commonly used in the manufacturing facilities, because the goal here is to have the minimum or even zero storage, so that when you need that, it's there. When you don't need it, it's not there. The lean operations have been used by Walmart. So in general, Walmart doesn't have a storage. All they have is on the shelf. So they have a very good system to track how many items on the shelf for each item. So when they see something low in quantity, and they're going to have trucks to deliver these products to the shelf from the distribution center. So Walmart has saved a lot of space and a lot of inventory to keep these products in each store. So the concept of lean here, and there are several characteristics. So value stream mapping, production occurs in self-controlled cells, and so on. We're going to not only going to go through this, but some idea here is, okay, we want to make sure that we are trying to cut all the unnecessary waste in space, in storage space, the waste in hiring extra people, because it's not people's waste, but the money you spend on, because you're keeping this high inventory, and you need to have people to do that. The hour and time, direct labor hours for people to do this, and so on. So it's cost company money, and so there are all these things that be linked to lean production. So the book has pretty good explanation on all these here. So I urge you to read the chapter to find out what all this means. So there are drawbacks and the lean production systems. It's vulnerable when problems strike suppliers or distributors, because you heavily rely on the delivery. So if the delivery is delayed, and your machine will be hungry, your machine is going to wait for the delivery. What can cause that happen? Weather-related issues. So if you are waiting for something to be delivered from from New York, if we're in California, so that takes say 5 days or 4 days to get here, and if there's severe weather on the way, it may take another week to get here, and then your calculated lead time is 5 days, and now suddenly it becomes 12 days, and then you cannot do anything because you are waiting for the materials or parts to be delivered to you, and it'll be delay in the delivery. And the personal problems, union strikes, for example. The union strikes on the suppliers and the distributors, and they're not going to ship you anything because of strikes. And shortage of parts due to recalled products. So if some products been recalled, and then suddenly you have a shortage of parts because you need to make more need more parts to repair all these recalled products. So you have to consider lead time. Maybe it has to be delivered from somewhere far. It takes 4 or 5 days to get delivered to you, and then you cannot do anything until everything's been delivered. If we have the inventory, you don't need to worry about that. You can use anything in the inventory. So that'll be some drawbacks. So sustainability and lean thinking. Sustainability is to keep our business alive, and also sustainability nowadays is to keep, there's a social responsibilities, and you need to make sure you're not going to cause harm or cause harms to the society or the community. So both sustainability and lean thinking is to seek to reduce waste. So they want to actually there are different wastes. Sustainability is to the waste that is cause harm to the to the environment, to the community, and a waste here. And for lean thinking is waste of money, waste of labor, waste of resources. And lean focus on internal, because it's internal use of the method to improve the profitability and efficiency. And sustainability is on the green, and make our environment healthy, and so it's focused on external. So the ideal situation is here we have lean and green. So next objective, describe and use the cost of our quality framework. Total quality management. It's very commonly used in the manufacturing facilities. The goal is to provide customers with superior products and services. Many companies have this goal. Most companies, they're going to focus on the customer satisfaction, and by providing the best products possible and the best service possible. And another goal here is to have a continuous improvement. And technology improvement is going to have big impact on the qualities of the company. And the company needs to improve their technology, improve their facilities, improve their systems, so that they can lower their costs and provide better products to the customers. And there are more investment upfront to generate savings in the back end of the value chain. So, for example, if you want to have it just in time, and you need to have some kind of investment so that it can you're going to make sure that the products will be on your shelf when you need it. So those are kind of investment. And the system setup, computer systems, and you need to pay money for it, can be pretty expensive. It's not a personal computer, but servers and those networks, and so you need to make sure you have to pay for it upfront. There are 4 types of quality costs. Preventive costs. For the higher quality products, you need to have to pay for it. And it's going to avoid poor quality goods or services by giving employees training, improved materials, higher quality materials, and a preventive maintenance. So machines should be maintained, your facilities should be maintained, your system should be maintained. These are to prevent the poor quality goods or services. Appraisal costs, to detect poor quality goods or services. Inspections throughout the production, inspections of the final product, and product testing. One product testing you may know about is, okay, when GM or other car companies are making cars, and they have those crash tests. So they want to make sure that it meets certain high standard. So if two car crashes, heads-on crash, and the people inside are safe. So they do this very often. That's okay. Very often doesn't mean they do that for each batch, but pretty often they do the testing to make sure the cars are safe, especially when the new car model has been made. Internal failure costs, and those costs are internally, well, actually has external failure costs to avoid poor quality goods or services before delivered to the customer. So I need to have testings. So the production loss caused by downtime. So and rejected product units are the costs incurred internally. External failure costs will be anything happened after the products have been delivered. It's going to cause lost profit from lost customers. The customer is not going to buy the low cost defective products from you, and it's going to be bad image to the customer. So you want to make sure the quality you have will be high. Warranty costs. So too many repairs is going to increase your warranty costs. Service costs as customer side. It's inevitable because company is going to call. You're going to have a call center set up. So this will be cost to the company. And other services will be, for example, car services and provided. There'll be cost to, or let's now say car services. So let's say maintenance of, let's say, air conditioners, and so they provide you 5 years or 3 years of free services, and so they're going to come to your home to repair your air conditioners. So there'll be every trip by the service guy to your home will be a cost taken by the company. Sales returns due to quality problems, of course, it's going to cost the company a lot. So they want to make sure these they want to reduce cost sales returns by improving the cost quality. Non-manufacturing cost of quality, it's not really the manufacturing problem. Service firms or merchandising companies also incur cost of quality. So they also have prevention, appraisal, and so on. Prevention is to have professional training to their staff and develop standardized service checklists. Appraisal cost is to review work continuously and inspecting before releasing. For example, accounting firm, tax who prepare tax returns, and so the people who provide such services should be trained accordingly, and they need to have some checklists for people to review their jobs before they provide the final tax return for the customer. Review work continuously and inspecting before releasing is also part of the cost we have to have. So cost of quality reports identify, categorize, and quantifies all of the costs it incurs related to quality. And in fact, it's here. The framework here is that the higher, we may increase preventive costs and appraisal costs, but it's going to reduce our internal failure costs and external failure costs. So upfront investment on here is going to have a major impact on reducing of the cost here. Usually, the below here, the cost is a lot more than the cost in here. So here's an example here. Cost-benefit analysis. The cost incurred for preventive, appraisal, and so on has been calculated as $2 million. And there's a percentage here. See here, warranty costs and so on. For external failure costs, it's 68%, 68.4%. It's mainly it's in here. So the cost, upfront cost, if we put more in here, and it's going to reduce the cost in here. Let's take a look here. So this is the one has, okay, they have different costs. For example, training, and this is a preventive, and they have a testing. They have identify preferred suppliers to commit on-time delivery and so on. So they have spent money on these ones, and so they are going to have the costs on the other things to avoid cost profit from lost sales due to disappointed customers, so on. And these are different other costs. So what we do here is to identify, classify each item as a preventive, appraisal, internal failure, and or the external failure cost. And see, should the company implement the new quality program? We want to explain that. So preventive costs including training of the employee, training of suppliers, and identify preferred suppliers who commit to on-time delivery. So it's preventive. And appraisal is to strengthen testing one item from each batch of panels, and avoid inspection of raw materials. So internal failure is to rework and spoilage, and the external failure cause is the loss of profit due to lost sales because of disappointed customers, and also the warranty costs. So let's take a look here. So preventive costs is the 23 for 34,051. Appraisal here is a testing, and also savings on inspection of the raw materials because of this inspection. So saving is a $49,000. So internal failure cost savings will be 66. External savings, failure savings will be 85 times 25 is 55. Not 25, it's 105. So we use all these minus upfront investment here. We find we have a cost savings of $55,000. So is it good? Of course, it is good. So basically, idea here is, okay, we spend some money in here for preventive appraisal so that we can save on the cost of the other items. And if we have to see the benefit, and then it means we're doing a good one. So we're going to go for it. So that's basically the chapter. And please read the chapter, and I have posted all the necessary information for this chapter. So I just want to remind you, this chapter is pretty long, a lot of concepts in here, so be prepared that it's going to you need to spend a little more time than the other chapters. All right, thank you very much. And now don't forget, we're going to have exam, but this exam will be longer time. I'm going to make it due on Sunday, so you're going to have the weekend to work on the chapters. All right, talk to you later.